This is the word bitter in the dictionary, and it says of people or their feelings or behavior, angry, hurt, or resentful because of one's bad experiences or sense of unjust treatment. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Call Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Barak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that's scattered abroad. The Akim and the Aqua just listening in. Yahweh, Rakasalo, willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Mawan back at you with another lesson. And this is part three, all right, of bitter versus sweet. All right, and this is the bitter. Okay, so let me see something real quick. Okay, so when you go into the word etymology of bitter, right, it says having a harsh, sharp taste, cutting, angry, full of animosity, cruel. Okay, so going into this truth, all right, which we already done, two parts of this title, right, bitter versus sweet. The first one was, do you got the oil, and if you do, what kind of oil you got? All right, I mean, Salakia, what soil do you have, and if you do got the oil, which soil do you have, basically, right? Basically going into this word, right, because you go through different levels of this truth, until you can prove yourself to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai that you basically have good soil and that you are able to grow in this truth. Okay. And then the second one was going into, the sweetness of this truth, the things that we go through, the things we learn is a sweet thing, all right? But most of all, everything that we go through in this truth, all right, is bitter, all right, because we suffer for Hamashiach's sake at the end of the day. Okay, so matter of fact, that being said, let me grab this precept. I'll start it off with that precept. All right, this is Philippians. All right, this is Philippians 3 and 8. All right, and it says 7. It says, but what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. All right. So being in this truth, all right, you have to expect to lose everything. Okay. See, he that saves his life shall lose his life, but he that loses his life for Yahweh Shai's sake shall save it. Okay, as the scriptures say. So everything here that you love the most, things that were close to you, all right, most likely you're gonna lose them, all right, and it's okay because you're losing them for the excellent knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see? So let's grab this precept real quick. All right, this is Salakia. Let's grab Ezekiel 2 and 9. It says, and when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein, and he spread it before me, and it was written there within and without, and there was written therein lamentations, mourning, and woes. Okay, so when you read it in the NLT, it says, which he unrolled, and I saw that both sides were covered with funeral songs, words of sorrow, and pronouncements of doom. You see, these are the things that we go through. All right. And these are the things that you constantly read about in the scriptures. See, this is the bitter part of it that turns your stomach. All right. Because when you read, all right, Let's grab that real quick. All right, in Revelations, okay, this is Revelations 10 and 9. It says, and I went on to the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. All right, talking about these scriptures. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter. Okay, it shall make thy belly bitter. You know what, Salakia? Hold on. I read that in the. Yeah, I was right. It shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. Okay, so all right, the moment you get this truth, yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. All right, to have the knowledge and wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, is far better than rubies. All right, it's better than anything in this world, and there's nothing to be compared to it at the end of the day. But see, the moment you get this word at the same time, you realize how bitter, all right, your captivity is. As the scriptures say, we are in captivity to this day. All right, you realize how everything around you is completely wicked, and it makes you even more bitter, and it turns in your stomach. Then you realize how wicked you were, okay, to the point where it makes you even more bitter within yourself. Okay, matter of fact, to prove that, let's grab this. This is Ecclesiastes, okay, 1 and 18, and it says, "For in much wisdom is much grief." And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. You see, so when you go into that word grief, okay, let's go into it real quick. It says kahas, right? It says anger, vexation, okay, frustration. You see, these are the things that you're going to go through in this truth, man. All right, let's go into the word sorrow. All right, sorrow goes into. Matter of fact, let me go back to that word, grief, see if there was a root word. Yeah, the root word of that goes into kawas, all right? And it says, to be angry, be vexed, be indignant, all right? Indignant, be wroth, be grieved, provoked to anger and wrath. You see, these are the things, all right, that you're going to be, that the emotions really that you're going to get. And this is why we tell you can't have emotions in this truth. You have to be ready to fight those emotions, because those emotions could, basically destroy you, you see, and then you end up vomiting this truth. All right. Then you end up pushing away from it. Then you become scared of it. You see, you get scared of actually taking the challenge of Yahweh Shai, man. Because at the end of the day, this is just a big test, and the Lord is asking who can challenge it, man. Who can stand in this truth the longest, you see? Because whoever comes into it, man, is gonna have to feel the flames and the fire of this truth. All right, that's the bitterness of it. Okay, so going into that word sorrow, all right, goes into pain, sorrow, right? Physical and mental. You see? So you're gonna go through a mental pain, all right, a mental frustration on a constant basis. All right. When you go into that root word, it goes back into Kawab, and it says to be in pain, be sore, have pain, be sorrowful. All right. All meaning of what? In a mental state of mind. Okay. Now, let's go back to what we just had. All right. In Revelations 10. All right. And this is 10 and 10. And it says, and I took the little book out of the angel's hand and I ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. All right. When you go into the word bitter, all right, bitter goes into, it says peak peak rod peak rod enu. All right, peak renew. Okay.
Strong's G 4087.
Pecrino. Okay, it says to make bitter, to it says to produce a bitter taste in the stomach. Got that part. All right, it says exasperate. All right, let's see what that says in the dictionary, right?
exasperate.
All right, it says irritate and frustrate someone intensely. You see, similar word says infuriate, incense. Okay, anger, annoy, enrage, antagonize. You see, this is why this truth is so bitter, because the scriptures say, when thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So preparing your soul for temptation is in these words, man. That things are going to be infuriating. All right, things are going to get annoying. All right, you're going to be irritated a lot. You're going to be antagonized to do things that you're not supposed to be doing. You see, you're going to be provoked to do the wrong thing. See, and that's why it becomes very frustrating and is very bitter, because that's the beautiful challenge that the Lord has given us in this truth, man. You see, if there was no challenge, man, then everybody would just make the kingdom and that's it. All right. But the Lord said, many are called and few are chosen. So in order for you to be chosen, you have to endure these things. As the scriptures say, he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. All right. So you have to go through these type of things, these irritations, these frustrations intensely. All right. It ain't just something that happens boom, bang, and it's just gone, man. This is going to be a constant thing. Every single minute, every moment you're being tested, every moment you're being thrown an unfortunate situation to test you in your faith. You see? So that's why you have to count the cost. All right. Whether you have sufficient to deal with it. All right. Sufficiency to deal with it. All right. Are you sufficient to build that tower and continue to keep building that tower? All right. And never give up. You see? So it's going to become a very hard thing to deal with in this truth. All right. To the point where sometimes, man, you want to tear your own head off, man. You see, the Lord said, through much tribulation, you shall enter into the kingdom. Right. Let's grab that. All right. This is, let me get out of this. Right. This is Acts, I believe it's 14. Come on, man. This is Acts. Come on. 14 and 22. And it says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith. All right. So the Lord is exhorting you to continue in the faith, you see, because it's going to be so irritating that Satan's job is to try to break your faith. Okay. By sifting. See, we're constantly sifted in this truth. When you go into that word sifting, it goes into sanazo. All right. Which means to break one's faith, which I'll grab that in a second. All right. But continuing on, it says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, that we must, through much tribulation, okay, enter into the kingdom of YAHAWAH'S, meaning we must suffer many hardships. Okay. Let's go into that word tribulation. All right. It says oppressing, pressure. You see, we're constantly going to go through pressure in this truth. All right. And what's that saying in the world? Pressure caused diamonds, man. You see, so we are going to be a diamond in the rough. All right. To YAHAWAH'S. But you see, you have to go through that pressure to become that gold, but to become that diamond. Okay. So it says pressure, it says metaphorically oppression, affliction, tribulation, distress, straits. So we're constantly going to be oppressed in this truth. You know, you're going to go through many dire straits. All right. Much distress. You know, it's a stressful thing to be in this truth. Okay. As we just read, with much wisdom comes much grief. Okay. You have to lose your family, you know, in this truth, possibly. You're going to be losing your job. All right. Going through a lot of sufferings. All right. Much trouble. You're going to go through persecution in this truth. You know, being persecuted and being blamed. All right. Being people going to bear false witness on you, you know, call you crazy. You know, these are the things you have to understand that's going to come with this truth. And you have to say to yourself, are you ready for these things? Okay. So it says oppression, affliction, tribulation, okay, distress. When you go into that word, right, in the root word of it, it says to press hard upon, you see, a compressed way, narrow, straightened, contracted, okay, because this is a narrow path. You see, it's a one only man path, man, with fire on the left, all right, and water on the right, or if it's fire on the right and water on the left, right, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's a path that if you fall off, okay, you gonna fall on each side of it, man. You could drown in this truth, or you could catch the fire in this truth, man. It don't matter. At the end of the day, it's gonna be a hardship to get to your destination, man. Again, if it was easy, everybody would do it. The Lord would have to say, you know, many are called and few are chosen. All right. He would just say many were called and they all made it. You see? But that's not how it works in this truth. Okay. Narrow, straightened, right? Remember that word, narrow, straightened, which I'll get to that in a little bit. Okay. It says suffer tribulation. You see? We're made to suffer in this thing, man. When you go into, matter of fact, let me just grab that real quick. All right. This is Second Ezra, the 7th chapter, verse around 57. All right. And it says, let me grab it. It's a little up. All right. Hold on real quick. I think I'm passing right by it. This is Second Ezra 7 and 56. All right. And it says, for while we lived and committed iniquity, you see? So because, matter of fact, we'll go for 54. It says, for we have walked in unpleasant places, you see? So you're going to walk in unpleasant places. Things are going to be very unpleasant in this truth, okay? To be unpleasant is you won't get comfortable. You'll never be comfortable. If you're comfortable in this truth, is because the Lord is not dealing with you, you see? If you're comfortable in this truth, is because you're stagnant and you're not growing, you see? The point of you being uncomfortable is so you can continually call upon the name of the Lord, constantly pray unto the Lord, you see? And you can grow in this truth, you see? You grow more and more every single day through the hardships you go through. See, the experience comes in. All right, let's grab that real quick. All right. This is Romans 5, and let's grab it from 2, right? It says, therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with our power through our Lord Yahawah HaMashiach, by whom also we have access by faith into his grace, wherein we stand and rejoice in hope of the glory of Yahweh. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, you see? So you can't be the one that gets offended when you're in this truth because of the trials and tribulations that you're put upon, you see, that you're brought into, all right? Because the Lord wants to see you suffer, man, okay? Because you showing that you'll suffer for him, all right, is going to give you that reward at the end, you see? It's going to give you that crown for the suffering you did. See, as the scriptures say in Hebrews, the 11th chapter, that you chose to suffer with the children of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai than rather to have pleasures of sin for a season, you see? So by you suffering, you're giving up and refraining from all your appetites. You giving up on the things of the world for the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, like we read in 3 and 8 in Philippians. You see, you count all things lost, but for the excellency, for the excellent knowledge of Yahawah Shai HaMashiach, You see? So it proves, it speaks a lot of volumes when you suffer in this truth, man. Okay? So it says, not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Okay? And patience means suffering. And patience experience. And experience hope. You see? So that's why you have to go through these things, man, to continue to catch the experience and grow in those experiences. Because by the end, all right, you'll have all this hope. And hope is what? The substance of things hoped for, all right? And the evidence of things not seen, which is basically faith. That's what hope is. You see? Hope is faith. So it increases your faith by going through what you go through on this side. The sufferings give you faith boosters when you conquer them. You see? And every time the Lord breaks you down, he builds you back up. So he breaks you down more and more, all right, to build you to that strong character in perfection. In the eyes, so in his eyes, you are perfect. You see? So it says, in patience, experience, and experience hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of Yahweh is shed abroad in our hearts, meaning in our mind, by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us. You see? So you counting all things but dung for the knowledge of the Lord. You see? You're going to be filled with that Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit is what? The understanding of the scriptures. So now you don't fear these things. These things don't they don't bother you. This is why you have to be built on a rock solid foundation, because when the bumps and the bruises, the wind blows, the rain descends, right, and all these things come upon you, all right, it's not going to knock your house down. It's not going to knock you down. You see, you're going to be strong and sturdy, rooted and grounded in the faith, established in the faith. You see, you're going to be unmovable. Okay. And that's because your house is built upon a rock, which is that rock solid foundation, which is YAHAWAH'S. You see? So let's go back to, all right, 2nd Ezra 7 and 54. It says, for we have walked in unpleasant places, and that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars. You see, abstinence means to refrain from things. Okay, when you was in school, they told you to have abstinence towards sexual relations, right? Was the same thing with this truth, man. When you have abstinence to the things of this world, all right, it says you shall shine above the stars. You see? So it says, where insecurity in medicine, since Salakia, oh my bad, I got the wrong part. 55. And that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death, showing you that we have reincarnation, showing you that we have to pay for the sins of our past life. So the things that you're suffering for here is for the things that you suffered, that you did in your past life, and the things that you did here before you came into this truth. You see? And being the fact that this is going to be the last captivity, all right, it's even harder and stronger at this time, at this moment. Okay? The things that we go through, the trials and tribulations, all right, are stronger than they've ever been, because this is the last time. You see? But you cannot, let's grab that. Really? Let me just grab it from here. Concerning the fiery trial, KJV. All right, this is 1 Peter 4 and 12. It says, beloved, thinking not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you, but rejoice in as much as you are partakers of Hamashiach's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. You see? So these are things that we have to go through, man, to be made perfect in the sight of the Lord. All right. That's why the Lord said, let's grab that. All right. In Ecclesiasticus. Okay. 2:1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, YAHAWAH'S, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever, you see, so you got to cleave onto him harder and harder every time you go through the time of trouble, constantly enduring. See, he said constantly endure because you're going to go trial after trial, tribulation after tribulation. All right. This is a never ending thing, man. Remember, we're under curses. So those curses are going to pursue us until death. All right. And we're trying to conquer those things, you see, to be made perfect, to get out of this vile body. It says, depart not away, that thou may be increased at that last end. You see? So that means at the end of all these trials and tribulations, every time you conquer it and you pass it, what ends up happening? You're increased more and more. You see, you're made stronger. You're built, you're broken down to be built up stronger every single time. Okay? And that's a beautiful thing, you see, because that's what's going to make you perfect in the sight of the Lord. You see, it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. You see, so the Lord is warning you that you're going to be put to the lowest estate, man, the lowest state possible, to the point where, man, you feel like shit. All right. You're hurt, like we read in the beginning. Okay. Bitter. Let's go back into that word. All right. What did it say? I got to punch it in. All right. Bitter goes into what? It said, I took the second verse because the second definition, because the first was just saying having a sharp, pungent taste or smell, not sweet. All right. But what we want is the second one. It says of people or the feelings or behavior, angry, hurt, or resentful because of one's bad experiences or a sense of unjust treatment. See, he's going to feel like you're having an unjust treatment. You see, he's almost going to feel like you want to tell the Lord, like, man, this ain't fair, man. This ain't fair. Why am I going through this? You know? But see, if you have the understanding, it's because of what you've done in your past life that you have to pay for. You see, if you understand it, all right, he's really not giving you an unjust treatment, because the Lord is a just power. You see, the Lord is righteous in all his doings. You see, so when you realize it and you grow in this truth and you catch the experience, you'll understand that it was actually well deserved. You see, because what you have done. And that's why you're supposed to take it cheerfully. See, because when you're not being dealt by the Lord, you're considered a bastard. You see, you have no father. You have nobody to chastise you. You see? But when you're constantly being chastised and punished, because you have to know the difference. So sometimes we're just chastised with, you know, you're doing everything you possibly do perfectly right? And you still catching hell. That's chastisement. But then you know you did wrong and you went off and you shouldn't have. And you might still think that you're getting chastised, but you're really not. It's really a punishment, you know? So you have to have the spirit of discernment to know when you're being chastised and when you're actually being punished. But either or, all right, they're both well-deserved at the end of the day. And they both are there to make you that correct spirit, you see, to be blameless and holy before the Lord, okay? So these are things you have to consider when you come into this truth, man. Knowing that bitterness is going to come upon you, knowing that you're going to be sifted at all times and you're going to be hurt, you're going to be broken, okay? And even though we tell you not to have emotion, all right, we tell you that to stay strong. At the end of the day, you really can't help sometimes your emotions, because the Lord has emotions, man. There's emotions throughout the whole entire scripture. when the Lord is telling you wrath, I'm angry, his indignation, you know, his jealousy, those are different types of emotions. You see, you just got to know when to use those emotions. See, Jake is just too completely emotional. Oh shit, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. You haven't even tried, my nigga. You haven't even gone through a part of the battle yet. You know, when you suffer for the Lord, believe it or not, it feels good because you increase yourself to be a better person. You're better than yesterday. You see, and that should be your mentality every day. You know, be better than yesterday. Okay. So, you know, those inward agitations that we get, all right, it's perfectly normal. All right, let me grab that real quick. This is Luke 22:31, and it says, and this is the time when you had Satan desiring to sift Simon. All right, so this is part of the bitter also. You're gonna be sifted at all times in this truth, man. Satan is gonna desire, okay, and that means what? Beg the Lord to sift you away from his word to see if you're really worthy. Okay. So it says 22:31 in Luke, and it says, and the Lord YAHAWAH'S said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. You see? So look how beautiful that is, that we actually have the Lord praying for us, man. The Lord giving you that push to be able to conquer that. See, because the Lord has the experience. The Lord conquered the flesh, man. So the Lord is giving you the words, all right? He's giving you his experience through these scriptures on how to conquer the flesh, okay? And the Lord is right there with you in that battle, you see? As it tells you in Exodus 14:14, all right? The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. So the Lord is fighting for you, man. You have to believe that the Lord is behind you fighting, okay? And it says, and when thou art converted, you have to strengthen your brother. See, once you conquer that that tribulation. See, now you could go and share the experience with another brother and try to strengthen that brother to be able to encourage him to push through his. Because we all go through the same thing, man. Just the different manners. Okay, we're all in the same battle, in the condition of the battle. All right. So when you go into that word desired, all right, it goes into exalteo, right? And it goes into to ask from, demand of. So Satan is constantly demanding Yahweh, all right, and begging for oneself to ask that one be given up to one from the power of another. You see, in a bad sense, it says torture, punishment. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to take that bitterness, all right, of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai? You see, that's the condition of the battle, man. Bitter versus sweet, and most of it's gonna be bitter. You're gonna be tortured in your mind, physically, okay? You know, spiritually, you're tortured in here at all times. You just can't catch a break anywhere you go in this truth, man. That's why there was written there in Lamentations, Mournings, and Woes, man. And people don't consider that. They just think this shit is a joke. Oh shit, I'm an Israelite. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. I'm part of those 12 tribes. That's it. I'm good. I made it. I'm in. That's how they feel. That's the mentality these people got. You see, but that's not how the Lord set it up, man. All right. So it says torture, punishment, all right, to ask that one be given up from one power to another, all right? Now, when you go into that word sift, okay, that goes into sanazio, sanazo, And it says, by inward agitation to try one's faith to the verge of overthrow. You see? So that's what we was just reading, okay? And that other precept, okay? That you are tried by inward agitation, okay? And as a matter of fact, I believe it was actually not even in the precept. It was in the word bitter. Word etymology online, bitter.
The word bitter comes from Old English, meaning sharp or harsh. It's related to the Proto-Germanic word bitrus, and ultimately to a Proto-Indo-European root, meaning to split. The word's meaning expanded to include feel.
All right. It was saying angry, okay, full of animosity, cruel. All right. Let me see what bitterness. I saw that word bitterness down there. Bitterness would probably say the same exact thing. Anguish, grief, misery. You see? This is all the things that we're going to go through in this truth, man. All right. That inward agitation, it was in one of the precepts that I brought out. I forgot which one it was. All right. Which I'm not going to look for because I don't want to lose my train of thought. You see? But let's go into this. All right. And as a matter of fact, I got to finish. The other precept I had. And Ecclesiasticus 2. Okay. It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. For gold is tried in the fire and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. You see? So going back to what I was saying, when we read that, you know, being in this truth, you have, when we went into the word tribulation, it said what? Pressure. You see, you're going to but the pressure is going to be put on you. All right. And you know how they say in the world, man, pressure causes diamonds, man. So you want to be that gold in the furnace of adversity. Okay. You want to be that diamond in the rough that went through the pressure and was created to be a jewel. You see? Same thing with us being that gold. The Lord is constantly putting you through the fire for a reason, because when you're a piece of gold being put in the fire, all right, you know that piece of gold is cleansed and it's perfectly made when you can see yourself in that actual piece of gold. So the Lord is trying to make you the spitting image of YAHAWAH'S. You see? So he puts you in that fire constantly over and over and over again, all right, to make you in that spitting image. It's the process of purification at the end of the day, man. The things we go through, it's a process of purification to be made perfect, right? So it says, believe in him and he will help thee, order thy way aright and trust in him. You see? And you that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy and go not aside lest you fall. You see? And if you depart from the Lord and you get offended by this word, you'll fall away from the Lord and the Lord will fall away from you. You see? It's no more that the Lord is supping with you, okay? And the Lord and you supping with him. The Lord's just going to depart from you and he's not going to find you worthy, all right, of this truth. All right. So let's go to this precept. All right. This is give me 1 second. There's a couple of them. I put the word suffering. All right. Give me 1 second. This is Philippians 1:29. It says, for unto you it is given in the behalf of Hamashiach, not only to believe on him, but also to suffer for his sake. You see, part of the bitter. All right. This is 1 Thessalonians 3 and 4. For verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and ye know. So they told in that time, right? They were already telling us, the scriptures were already telling us that we were going to suffer for this truth, man. In order for us to see that reward, to see that light. All right. Let's go to this precept. Okay, this is Ecclesiasticus 7 and Salakia, second Ezra's, my bad. Second Ezra 7 and 7. All right, because remember they had narrow, the word narrow, and one of those words, right? It says the entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water, a one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could not but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, and what's that city? Is going into that actual the kingdom, you see? So already it's telling you, if you were to possess this inheritance, this kingdom, all right, it says, if this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? You see? Because through much tribulation you shall enter into the kingdom. You see? So the Lord has to put you to the test, man. He has to put you through this one only path to see if you can make it out of there. Okay? So it says, Salakia. It says a one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small. Hold on, my bad. I was in the wrong verse. 9. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Okay? Because the danger is what makes you strong enough to pass through that. You see? Because every time you get smacked with tribulations and trials and you beat it, you become stronger. So the next time that you get smacked with another one, all right, it becomes that much easier for you to conquer it. It becomes that much easier for you to just brush it off. You see? You brush your shoulders off, man. It's like them bullets to start bouncing off you. You see? Nothing could kill your spirit. All right? What's that saying in the world? If it don't kill you, if it don't break you, it don't make you, it don't break you. I forgot how you say it. All right? But that's exactly what it's like, man. If it's not gonna kill you, man, you good. At the end of the day, the Lord not here to take your life, man. You see, he wants you to be able to pass that test. He wants you to conquer that. Okay? Because if you go ahead and end up breaking, all right, then that just means you weren't meant to be part of it, man. And then he'll just cast you into the outer darkness. He'll just let you be. All right? Matter of fact, let me get that saying. I forgot. Hold on, Salakia. That's the saying. What doesn't break us makes us stronger. All right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I was trying to figure it out. All right? But what does it mean? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger is a popular how you say this word? Aphorism. Let me get it.
Aphorism.
Aphorism. right? Basically, oh man. Damn, it has something good right after that too. Oh, there you go. All right. What it means is overcoming adversity can build resilience and character. See, that's perfect. See, so every time that you're broken down, all right, is literally to build resilience and build character in you every time. And who's the character that you're trying to impersonate, that you're trying to be just like Yahawah? You see, Shalom, sister Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Barakatah. You see, so it's nothing wrong with you being broken down. Because when you have the faith, you know the Lord gonna pick you up. There's always gonna be a light at the end of the tunnel, man. You see? It's just that that tunnel is a long tunnel of darkness that you have to go through. All right? But see, the more you keep conquering it, the shorter that tunnel gets every time. And the light is shown to you even quicker. It's in the beginning when you first come into this truth that's just it seems like a long tunnel. It seems like you're never going to get out of it. All right. But you just got to allow the Lord to, deal with you. And you got to allow the Lord to purify you, man. Process of purification. Okay. It says, but the idea is not universally true and can be harmful. While some research shows that overcoming challenges can lead to personal growth. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's made for personal growth. Okay. That's why I say if you're not growing in this truth, then hey man, you need to pray for the Lord or something to bother you at the end of the day. Because the Lord clearly said through much tribulation, you're gonna enter into the kingdom, man. So you have to go through these things. It says satisfaction and self-esteem. You see, it also builds up your self-esteem. Okay, because remember, the bitterness is going to leave you hurt. So the more bitterness you go through, the more you get used to it. The more it doesn't hurt as much no more. You see? And it just makes you set your affections on the things above even more. It makes you beg onto the Lord to get up out of here quicker. You see, it make you drop on your knees and pray to the Lord even more when you go through these things. And that's what the Lord wants you to do. He wants you to make supplication, all right, which means to beg constantly. All right. It says other studies suggest that trauma can have everlasting negative consequences. Yeah, but see, if it gives you negative consequences, this truth ain't for you. That's why we tell certain brothers, if they can't handle it, well, then this truth ain't for you, brother. Because we're trying to strengthen you as much as we can through our experiences, right? But it's not working for you. So then that just means that you're weak. You're weak-minded. And the scriptures say that Satan, your adversary, is seeking whom he may devour. So you're going to be one that's going to be devoured real quick. You see? Because you're not one that's able to handle it. But those that are of the elect are going to be, they're going to be able to handle these things. They're going to be able to bear it. Matter of fact, let me grab that precept real quick. All right. This is 2 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. And it says, there has no temptation taken you, but such as common to man. But Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. So he's not going to give you something that you can't handle, man. The Lord's just going to give you according to your spirit, okay? According to your strength, the Lord's going to deal with you accordingly. You see? And if you're the elect, he's not going to have you taking something that you cannot handle, you see? Forcing you basically to vomit. How was that? Turn that off. There's the police over here. Just doing a sweep around the block. Okay, so it says, there has no temptation taking you but such as common to man, but Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. You see? So the temptations is nothing. It's common. It's something common to man in this truth. Because ain't nobody that's being a 2/3, all right, being wicked as hell, all right, is going to be going through any of these temptations. What are you going to go through the temptation for? You're already wicked as hell. The Lord said, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. When you depart from evil, you become a prey. You see? So these niggas that's doing wickedness, they not going through temptations, man. They are the temptation, man. Coming around us and trying to make us go back into the world. You know? He popped over. He stopped over there, too. He'd be about to go mess with somebody. Right? So, let's continue on. In 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter. All right? And we were at verse 9. If this city now were given unto a man, matter of fact, let me just read it from the 7th chapter again, since I've been talking, right? I mean, from the 7th verse. The entrance thereof is narrow, okay, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so, Lord Yahawashi. Then said he unto me, even so as is also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few, and evils full of perils and very painful. You see? All going into different types of bitterness. Damn, another one came by. Damn, another one came by. there's 3 of them over there. Somebody about to get their ass, go through some shit. All right. It says, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few, and evil full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit. You see? So all these different types of bitternesses that we going through, right, is made for us to have immortal fruit. And that's the only way you can receive that immortal fruit. Okay? Is by going through these trials and tribulations. Right? As a matter of fact, let me grab this. This is 1 Timothy. Well, not 1 Timothy, 1 Peter, Slovakia. 1 Peter 1:7. That the trial, matter of fact, let me go up to 6. It says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations. You see, going into that heaviness, going into you being hurt. You see, that's why the Lord deals with the forlorn. You see, the ones that are at the bottom, the ones that are broken. The Lord deals with one that has that broken and contrite spirit. You see, because the Lord looks at what's in the inside, not what's on the outside, but what's in the inside of your mind. You see? So when he knows that you're broken, all right, and you have that contrite spirit, that's when the Lord can lift you up every single time. You see? Gotta be careful. Don't pull up over here thinking somebody ran this way, because I got a bunch of units and connected. right? So it says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations. Let's go into that word heaviness. Okay, which I'm gonna cut this off for a second. My God. Heaviness, right? It says lupeo. Okay. Oh yeah, they're looking for somebody now. Somebody must have. Yep, they definitely looking for somebody. Because he came right behind my little spot. It says to make sorrowful, to affect with sadness, cause grief. You see, going back to what we read in Ecclesiastes 1 and 18, which with much wisdom comes much grief. Okay. So it says to make sorrowful, to affect with sadness, cause grief, to throw into sorrow, offended. You see, which we're not supposed to be offended in this truth, man. You're supposed to take it with joyfulness, man. Okay. But it can make you feel almost like you're offended because you're gonna feel the wrath of the Lord, and it's gonna have you sitting there saying, why am I going through this? Like, that's that inward agitation, you see. But you got to remember Job was going through all types of hell, but not once did he curse out the Lord. Not once did he back off of the faith. You see, he kept believing. You see, you can only imagine what he was going through. That it almost felt like he wanted to curse out the Lord. But you see, you can't do that. You see? So it says, offend, to make one uneasy, cause him a scruple. What's a scruple? All right. Scruple means a feeling of doubt. Woo! You see? So it's almost going to feel like you're about to start doubting in this truth. And that's what that sifting goes into. You see, that's Satan he's trying to like I said, give you up from one person to another by the trying of your faith. You see, he's trying to make you turn from Yahawah to turn to Satan. You see, to turn to evil. So it says a feeling of doubt or hesitation with regard to morality or how you say this? Let me see. Propriety. All right. The state of quality of confirming to conventionally accept standards of behaviors or morals. Okay. So hold on, let me go back. So it says to make one uneasy, cause him to scruple. All right. In the Strong's definition, it says to distress, reflexively or passively, to be sad, be in heaviness, the same thing. Make sorry, to be sorry. You see, that the Lord wants you to beg, all right, for forgiveness. You see? Please, I'm sorry. That you'll be sitting there like, please, sorry, Yahawah, I'm so sorry. Please get this off of me. You see, that's making supplication unto the Lord. That's what he enjoys, man. That's what he has pleasure in. You see? So going into that word heaviness, when you go into the root word of lipeo, it goes into lupe, sorrow, pain, grief, annoyance, affliction of person's mourning. All right, pretty much the same thing. All right, the only new word in there is grudgingly. All right, yeah, because you can almost have a grudge in this truth. You see, but you can't have those type of emotions because those emotions can sit in your mind. All right, and next thing you know, hey man, you could bug yourself out. Next thing you know, you having a grudge against the Lord. You know, you might have a grudge against a brother. You have to rebuke those thoughts. That's why the Lord said, take these things. The Lord said, take these things cheerfully, so you don't catch those type of emotions toward it. You take it cheerfully, all you're gonna do is get stronger, and then every time you go through that type of scenario, you're just gonna be able to brush it off, man. Brush off your shoulders and dust your shoulders off, man. That's it. Okay? And the Lord's gonna be pleased with that. So let's go back into the precept, right? It says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire. Let's see what that word fire, all right? And fire, basically going into that bitterness is probably, yeah, I was gonna say, it's probably just gonna say fire, just regular fire. All right, but you got to use your spiritual sense right here. All right, that fire is representing, all right, you going through the bitterness. Though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahawashi Hamashiach. You see, so right now it don't seem like we're the sons of Yahweh, all right, or the daughters of Yahweh. But see, when the time comes that Yahweh shall crack them clouds for you suffering, he that endured to the end, the saints shall be saved. Then he's going to be able to what? Exalt you. You see? That's another reason why we go through these sufferings, man. So we can be exalted by Yahweh Shai, because that's the only exalt that you want. You don't care about somebody else out here exalting you. We're not supposed to be exalting ourselves. We're only supposed to let in due time Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai exalt us. Okay? And by being exalted by Yahweh Shai, that's definitely the greatest feeling ever. Because you're talking about the creator of all things, man. That means he will say to you that you were a faithful servant. You see? And the scriptures talk about that. All right? That you want Yahweh Shai to tell you, let me just grab it real quick. Faithful servant. Blessed is that faithful servant. That faithful servant, KJV.
The phrase "that faithful servant" in the King James Version highlights the reward for obedience. It's used in the parable of the talents, where a master...
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. This is Matthew 25 and 23. He says, his Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. You see? That's the words you want to hear of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. That's why if you get beamed up and you make it, all right, you can't, you thought you was crying here? Man, you're going to be crying in the arms of Yahweh Shai at that time, even 144 times better. More, 144 times more than you ever cried here. You see? Because here you was in the flesh, man. But see, when you make it to that chariot, man, you're going to be in that perfect body. And that was the reward that you received, that perfect body. And then the Lord crowning you, all right? And then the Lord telling you, well done, my faithful servant. Man, that's going to have you in tears like a mom. All right? And that's a beautiful feeling. That's why we meditate on these things, man. So it says that the trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearance of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right, let's grab this. This is 1 John 3 and 1. It says, behold, what manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, meaning his truth, that we should be called the sons of Yahweh. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of Yahweh, and it does not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that has this hope in him purifieth himself. You see? Why? Because that's that process of purification, man. You see? Because we were what's the word I'm looking for? We were damn, the word was just on the tongue of my mouth. We were patient with the Lord, you see? We were patient in all these trials and tribulations. We enjoyed them, okay? And again, that patience makes it perfect, because patience means suffering. So you suffered in it. All right. To be called, that faithful servant. All right. It says, and every man that has this hope in him purifies himself even as he is pure. Okay. Let me see if I see something off of that. Let me see something on the cross reference. That's all right. Nah, I ain't even gonna look too much. So let me finish that up in Second Ezra's. All right. And what was 12? It says, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils, and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. Okay. See, you can never, if you can't go through none of these things, none of this bitterness that the Lord has to offer, well, then this truth ain't for you, man. This kingdom ain't for you. Okay. Let's grab this and I'll end it off. This is Matthew. Matthew 7 and 13. It says, enter ye at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth on to life, and few there be that find it. You see, many are called and few are chosen, man, because not everybody can actually have that condition, can fight that condition of the battle. All right, let me grab that. Back to Second Ezra 7 and 57, right? And it says, let me read that again. That's twice that it came out to the spirit. All right. 56, for while we lived and committed iniquity, we consider not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Okay. That if he be overcome, Salakia, then answered him. Oh, hold on. Let me read that again. I messed it all up. Back to 56, it says, for while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle which man that is born upon the earth shall fight. All right. And this is the condition of the battle for the elect. All right. For the elect's sake, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. You see? So by suffering, the victory is there, man. That's why the Lord said, he that save his life shall lose his life, but he that loses his life for my name's sake shall save it, man. Because you're giving up everything in this world, all right, for the knowledge of the Lord, man, for the prize that the Lord has in store for you, man. And not many people see that's great courage. That ain't pride. That's courage for YAHAWAH'S. You see, because for you to give it, you know how hard it is to give everything up in this society, man. For you to receive something that we haven't been able to see, that we haven't seen yet. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me grab that precept. This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 8, 16. It says, for which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, you see, the troubles, the trials, all right, the bitterness that we're going through, yeah, it seems forever, all right, because we living in this shithole, all right, but remember, everything's on the Lord's time. Okay. And the Lord's time is not the same time that we consider. You see, what we think is, years, it's seconds to the Lord. Okay. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. You see, that's us setting our affections on the things above, man. All right. This is Romans 8 and 18. And it says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of Yahweh. Okay? So we wait for these things, man. It says in the NLT, it says, yet we suffer now is not what yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory he will reveal to us later. For all creation is waiting eagerly for that future day when Yahweh will reveal who his children really are. You see? And it's the spirit that bears witness that we are the children of the Lord. It's the sufferings we're going through, okay, that shows you that you might be one to make it, man. You are a prisoner of hope. You having hope. Because none of these niggas of the world that are doing wickedly are suffering out here, man. All you see is the wicked prosper. That's part of that inward agitation, man. Seeing the wicked prosper right in front of you. They being wicked as hell and they getting everything in their favor, man. But here it is, we can't catch a break in anything that we do. You know, from you, you know, man, I can't even explain it, man. I can't even explain it. It gets under your skin, you know, when you see how this world that's so wicked and these people that are so wicked just ain't dropping yet. They just having the time of their life. You know, here it is. I just lost my son, right? 2 weeks ago, man. And I see all these wicked ass people having kids and dropping them like it's nothing, you know, coming out healthy and everything, you see. But I had to go through a whole suffering that broke me down, you know, mentally. But hey, the water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah for having the understanding. All right. And I ain't saying it to make anybody feel bad. I'm just using it as an example. You see the wicked prosper when they shouldn't be. But it's because the earth is given the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. So that's what should boost you up in your faith to push even harder, knowing that your ass ain't getting the things of this world, man. The things that you want the most, the things that you love the most are being taken away, and the things you want the most are not being given to you. So that's already a sign. You see, that's a faith booster within itself. You see? To know that, damn, I gotta be of the elect, Lord willing, you know. But hey, that's the condition of the battle. That's the bitterness of this truth. So you have to ask yourself, man, is you really ready for this thing? You see, that's the bitter versus the sweet. Okay, and this truth is always gonna have more bitter than sweetness. The sweetness is at the end, after you have battled the trials and tribulations, you know, concerning the fiery trial, okay, which was completely to try you the whole entire time, because you were chosen to be one to be tried, you see, and that right there within itself is beautiful, okay, because it's showing that the Lord dealing with you and the Lord's having mercy on you and has chosen you. As the Lord said, you have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, okay. So for the Lord to choose you to be one to have the name, to be partakers of his sufferings, okay, that's something to look forward to always, you know. So, but that's pretty much the point, you know. Salakia was a little long with it, you know. It's all through the spirit at the end of the day. But Lord willing that you will edify. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith, enduring as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. You sisters continue to listen in silence and keep learning and keep your faith up all the way to the end. All right. Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai gonna bless every single one of y'all. All right. The men, women, children that are believers, the men that are out there risking their lives all day long, pushing, this word. All right. Hey, it's almost over. That's all I can say. It's almost over. It's right around the corner. We can all taste it. We can all smell it. All right. We can sense it. It's right around the corner. So, hey, with that being said, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah. Shalom, sister, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah.